my friend. Well, hello and welcome. Happy Thursday to everyone, and welcome to Live with Leslie. And I'm Leslie Bytel here, and I'm a business practice building expert, and specifically helping healthcare practitioners to sell more programs, attract more right fit clients, and create multiple streams of income inside of their businesses. And I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. So we have the one and only, the wonderful Ilene Cohen joining us today. Hey, Ilene, how
Hey,
are you?
Leslie. I'm
So good
great.
to have you.
Thank you so much. So great to be here.
So I'm really excited to talk with Ilene, especially because I know many of you here today have probably been dreaming about writing and publishing a book. I hear it all the time, and I know that Ilene does as well. So we are going to talk about that process today. Um, Quite often, what we both tend to hear is that, lots of times as a health practitioner, you've got this idea in your head, but it never happens, right? You keep postponing it. And that could be due to a lot of things, such as just, overwhelm, fear, confusion about how to get started. So, our goal today is to kind of help you through those questions to help you to move forward. So, today is all about how writing and publishing a book can help nutrition as well as other integrative health professionals to really amplify their success inside of their private practice. So specifically, we'll be talking from niche expertise to bestseller, essential insights for health professionals to write successful books. And again, I am joined today by the wonderful Ilene Cohen. I'm just going to read Ilene's short bio, just so you have a little bit of background on her. So Ilene helps dietitians to go from feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and hopeless to successful when they pass the RD exam. And so Ilene has a signature method called the key strategy. So before we get into the kind of the details of book writing, I think it would be super helpful, Ilene, if you would just share a little bit about your backstory, how did you get to this place where, number one, you're helping others to inspire them to, put pen to paper and get that book out of their head onto paper. But also, a big chunk of the work that you do revolves around helping RDs to pass that exam. So, kind of tell us how all this goes together.
Okay, well, it started when of course, I have two businesses. So one is my tutoring business, RefreshExams LLC, and then I have my private nutrition practice, Prana Spirit Nutrition and Wellness LLC. We're doing mostly virtual work at this point, and we have an office location in New York and California. So anyhow, back like in 2015, I was looking for a little side hustle on the side of my private practice because Leslie, as a business coach, it's like challenging when you're first getting started, right? And that was before I hired you or any other business coaches. I was trying to figure out how to make more money. So I said, well, what can I do? And I just thought of this idea that I would tutor Spanish. So get this, I actually ended up signing on with a tutoring company, like a local tutoring company, and I would tutor the students in Spanish. I would go to their homes and tutor them in Spanish, and made some money, so it was actually helpful. And then they said to me, can you tutor anything else? I could tutor nutrition, but I said to myself, but who's going to call me for nutrition tutoring? Didn't seem like nutrition was a topic that, a subject that a lot of people would need help in. Well, to my surprise, I started getting contacted by dietitians to be who failed their RD exam. And it started out with just one or two that just reached out asking me, can you tutor me on the RD exam? And I'm like, well, I have a lot of clinical experience. It's been a while. It had been I became an RD in 2000. So it had been 15 years since I had taken my RD exam, but I said, well, I have a lot of experience. Why not? And I had the tutoring techniques from tutoring Spanish. So I started working with them, and they started one by one passing their exams after failing anywhere from one or several times. So I said, okay, this is really, I got to do this on a larger scale, and I really enjoyed it. And it was something to connect with nutrition. So I started developing packages and programs, 10-hour one-on-one tutoring packages. And then I started developing group courses. And then here we are today, fast forwarding, right? We have a multi-system here where we tutor for the RD exam, we have group classes, and we also just started last 2 years doing the certified nutrition support clinician exam. And then we have our newest exam, hot off the press. That's the CDCES exam, the Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist. And we're doing a course that we're going to be starting shortly after Fancy. We're launching this brand new exam.
Wow, that's exciting.
So exciting. I'm so excited about that course. Yeah, there's a lot of demand for that. So,
oh, that's fantastic. Okay. So I know, we've worked together before. I know you have a private practice, you're serving clients in that capacity, and you've got a second entirely different business. And that revolves around helping practitioners to specifically nutrition professionals, right? To pass these exams. Although with the diabetes one, does that include like other practitioners, like
It does. The diabetes one includes nurses. So right now, I actually asked at the conference I was at, it's split between RDs and nurses are the most common. But it's about equal RDs and nurses. And then there's also pharmacists that are about 7%. So there's so other practitioners will be able to take our review course.
Okay, that's super cool. Okay, so and it's just it's really interesting to hear that story of how that part of the business evolved, right?
By
It's
accident,
definitely
right?
a case of you saw a need, like a niche that had this need specifically, and you filled it, which is so brilliant.
Which is so funny. And it happened by accident. It wasn't really like an intentional.
Yeah.
Like I was literally just tutoring Spanish. Go figure, right?
Super cool. And that evolved into this amazing business, and one that's continually expanding and growing.
We
right?
are. Yeah.
Which is really super cool. I love that. So tell me a little bit about how how you became interested in writing books, right? So how, a little bit about how our topic for today, how did that evolve?
Yeah. So it was back during the beginning, well, right before COVID, actually. But then during COVID, I was looking for other things to do. But I wanted a way to communicate. Like everyone always dreams about writing a book, right? You hear that, right? So it's like, but what would I write the book on, right? I didn't really have a topic. And then I'm like, you know what? This is amazing. Like I have this signature strategy, but I really should write a book because it's amazing, right? And the strategy, and then there's stories about my students who passed, they're using it. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna write a book. And I literally woke up one day and said, I'll try writing a book. So it was during COVID, like right when COVID just started, that I got my first 11. I like telling this story because I got my first 11 pages written of the book. And I literally did not like apply to publish with any publisher. I didn't know about self-publishing at that point. I just knew that somehow I would make it happen, like I was going to write a book somehow. I'm destined to write a book. But then I got kind of stuck on page 11. I always tell this story. And then it was at that point that my writing coach entered into the whole picture here, who was just absolutely amazing. And then the rest is history. And I'll be telling a little more, on that along those lines,
Okay.
She's basically been instrumental, and I couldn't have done it without her.
Okay, so good. So, all right. So can you add any more about what led you to write a book?
Yeah, I mean, it was just really more the passion for my like I knew that I had a niche, right? So I had this special strategy, and I think because I felt so passionate, Leslie, about my unique signature strategy, like I created it from scratch, and it was
Yeah.
just so we trademarked the name, the key strategy, and I was like, you know what? It would be really cool. I could actually reach a lot more students. But what
Mm,
really ended up happening that I okay, so that prompted me to want to write the book. But then what really prompted me to actually publish the book was that I had met my writing coach, Steph Ritz, who's absolutely incredible. I had met her a few years back at a yoga therapy conference, and so we kept in touch. But then she sent me like I was on her email list. She was having like one of those a free info session for her upcoming writing masterclass. And I was like, you know what? I'm writing a book. Let me go check this out. I did, and I signed up for her mastermind because I was like, this is amazing. I have somebody who can actually help me to make this
yes.
happen, because the reality is I said, like, I know I'll probably write the book, but Leslie, I didn't know if I would finish writing the book, because it's one of those things where I started writing it and then I got stuck on page 11, and then
Yeah.
it just was hard to get motivated, as much as like you want to. If you don't know the ropes of how to do it, how can you do it? Right. So
Oh,
that's really
exactly.
what prompted me to say, yes, I'm committed to doing it. And then let's face it, when there's a little bit of money involved and skin in the game, you're going to get it done. Like
Yes, that
I
is really,
invested.
really true.
It's
So
really
you
true.
invested in
Oh
this
yeah.
group and you
I
were like,
invested.
okay, this means for sure I'm going to
It's
follow through.
it's gonna happen 100%. Yes.
So did you get like, I'm just wondering how they helped you. I'm sure
Oh,
mindset, staying motivated,
oh, it
achieving like, certain goals,
yes, it
right?
is literally a great experience. I actually just got back from Steph's writing retreat. I went on another retreat with her, and it was upstate in the not in the Catskills, I'm thinking New York. It was in California in the
Okay.
Redwoods.
Oh,
Beautiful. We drove through trees and everything.
wow.
It was amazing, but it was beautiful area to write in and kind of get ideas. The course was amazing. It was a mastermind, so you got to meet other authors, and there were like kind of different activities and exercises, I should
Mhm.
say, in each of the classes. Like she had like a syllabus. But then I think the one-on-one help was just like the most amazing icing on the cake, because you would get she gave a very generous amount of one-on-one sessions where you'd meet for a couple hours, and she would do ghost writing with you, or other techniques, and go through your manuscript. And I mean, I could have done it without that help. Coincidentally, I'm actually on my second, not book by myself, but I'm doing a collaborative,
Mhm.
which means that I'm going to be writing like a few chapters in a book, so with other authors. And so I'm taking her other course, and she said, do you want to have one-on-one add on? And I actually ended up purchasing more one-on-ones, because it's that one-on-one support that, like, I feel like you really need the coaching, right? So
Absolutely.
amazing,
Oh,
amazing.
I'm so glad.
It was the best investment, right?
Okay. So you wrote the book, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And when are you gonna like when is it gonna be available?
Okay, this is so exciting. I literally just finished like last week. I mean, it's a big process. So it took me, and then I had some medical leave last year. So it took me all in all a couple years,
Okay.
from start to finish. But I would say, I mean, you don't need necessarily 2 years. I took a little break. But it's definitely not something that happens overnight.
Mhm.
So now we're in the last stages. It's been final edited. So after you essentially write the book, it goes through like several rounds of like edits, right? You have like the final edits, and then you have a proofreading, and then so it went through a few rounds. Now it's in the phase where I'm going to be getting a PDF. We're looking at hopefully September, is what I'm praying for, because once my publisher always says that once you get the final handoff to her, it could be up to 3 months before
Mhm.
Amazon actually publishes it. But the truth of the matter is, you know, it could be sooner, right? So, and I'm hoping that it will be by September of this year. I'll be at Fancy this year, and I'm going to be doing a little exhibiting there. So I hope that I could walk in with the book.
Amazing. I hope so.
Yes.
I hope
Yes.
so. So let's talk a little bit more about how writing a book, putting that work in, because it is an investment, right? It's a
Yes.
significant investment. And, one does need to take that, kind of seriously,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So how can, doing the work, getting that book written, how can it help practitioners to reach their target audience, and just how can it help elevate their brand and
Yeah.
all the things?
Love it. Yeah. I mean, I just thinking in terms of what I did, like I took, you know, a niche and then a specialty and just kind of expanded on it. But where I think it's really helpful is in establishing, like you mentioned, credibility, right?
Mhm.
I think it's super credibility. I mean, it's essentially like makes you almost well known. Like you could almost say fame. You could say I'm an author, and then of course if you get bestseller status, which we'll talk about,
Yeah.
I'm a best-selling author, right? But it's I'm starting to use it a lot in my bios. But as my best advice that I would give people is just like think about what you do in your practice, right? What is okay, so we all know, like everybody knows niche down, what is your niche? But even more so, is there anything that you do that like no one else does, right?
Mhm.
And if so, that's something that essentially you could maybe it's a method, right? Maybe
Right.
it's you have your own unique system. So that's something you want to write a book about, right? Because that's
Yes.
something that you own, it's copyrighted, it's and then essentially once you're a published author, if you go the Amazon route, which most people do, get on Amazon, it's like the search engine there. It's I mean, what an incredible way to get and then you also,
Mhm.
of course, have that on your website, and the SEO and all that would just be astronomical, so
Okay.
that
Oh,
it
I love that.
really helps you reach your
That
target.
is actually, you bring up something kind of interesting. One of the things that I do help my clients to get on paper is defining their process, like kind of putting their entire body of work into
Mhm.
like maybe a 3, 4, or 5-step roadmap, right?
Yes, having like pillars.
Yeah, pillars, the
Yes,
pillars of the program.
those are the
Um,
program. You're
So
right.
like anyone that's here today that has worked with me, you know what I'm talking about, right? Because we have rolled up our sleeves and we've done this work
Mhm.
where, we've created your unique roadmap that really was designed to help your clients get from where they are now, which is not in a good place, to where they want to be instead. So
Yeah,
honestly, like that could really be a cool option for a book. Give it a
amazing.
name. Of course, we want to name everything, right?
A
Because it just adds so
hundred
much more
percent.
value. Give everything a name. That's why, like,
Everything is
we've named your spot. We don't just say, "Hey, you're going to get a discovery call." No, we
oh
give a
right.
name.
Yes.
We don't just say, "Hey, want to do my 3-month program?" No,
Right. No, it
a
has to
special
have
name.
a name.
Everything has a name,
A
right?
name. And that's interesting because the getting your title of your book is like a whole project in and of
Oh, yeah.
itself. Oh my God. It went through so many revisions, Leslie. It was very interesting. It literally was a completely different title than when
Yeah.
it started. I'm thinking back on it.
Yeah. I actually do remember that. I remember.
Yes.
So, yep, it's all
Yeah.
coming back to me,
It's
Ilene.
amazing. It's amazing. And again, having a publisher, having a writing coach is more than helpful when it comes down to getting your title and all those things, your
Mm,
subtitle. I mean,
mm,
you just need someone to bounce ideas off of. It's
right.
not you can't think of it yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Cause I mean, well, Well, you just need an external
You do.
sounding
You
board.
really do. You really, really do. I
I
mean,
could
you
just see how
can
you
think of
get in your own head in this whole
there
process.
you
And it can
go.
really, I'm just guessing, like that's why you got stuck at page 11. Good
Exactly. And
intentions, but it's like,
you can get stuck in your head too.
yeah,
You gotta have somebody who can help you see things differently, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So I love that. Okay, so and so like even so what do you do before the book is actually published? Like how do you know what's possible before you
Yeah.
actually make it happen?
Yeah.
Because again, just kind of going back to, the whole process, it is an investment.
It's an investment.
And there is this thing called opportunity cost. And it
Mm,
is probably one of the most useful things that I learned in my MBA training, believe it or not.
mm.
It's a fairly simple concept, but powerful. And
Mm,
I mean, it's opportunity cost, right? Like, so if you decide to go down this path,
mhm.
what are you giving up and what are you gaining versus a different path, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there is a cost.
Mhm.
It's also potential for huge gain. So you just kind of have
Yeah.
to figure it out, right? So I think really an important concept. And
Mhm.
personally, before I myself would embark on, really committing, putting my flag in the ground, saying, I'm doing this, I would want to have a very clear, like, indicator in
Yeah.
terms of, cost benefit.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting you mentioned that because I don't think I thought that way in the beginning. Like I kind of just sort of was like the trap, I was just wandering, and just
Yeah.
sort of finding, like I just kind of was like, let me write a book. And then I'm like, okay, here's a writing coach. Great, I'll hire
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
But so I sort of discovered it along the way. But looking back on it, yeah, you need a plan, and I think that that's what the being in the mastermind offered me, and having the one-on-one coaching around the book. Essentially you have a plan for the book, and when I saw how many opportunities I could offer within the book to my students, like if we
Mhm.
have, I mean, for example, like there's practice questions, but then if they buy my book, they get another series of practice questions
Okay.
online available. So you
Oh,
have a lot that you can give. I mean, I give
okay.
MP3 recordings. Like I infuse yoga in my book
Yeah.
because I'm a yoga therapist as well. And it has to do with test anxiety, right? And decreasing stress. And that's one of my pillars, by the way, stress
Yeah.
reduction. So I offer like, okay, here's the scripts. And then I also offer like an MP3 recording if you buy my book. Now,
Right.
normally I'll sell that on my website, but people that buy my book get it for free. So there's a lot of
Yes.
freebies that you put in the book. There's essentially, I mean, thinking in terms of business, there's a lot of upselling you can do in your book. So I think that knowing that, like, I'm investing all this time and money, and it is such an investment, Leslie, because you literally are not going to make a dime until that thing is published.
Right.
So you're really putting a lot of resources in. Can Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So there you
so
go.
yeah, so you're so the pay, like the financial payback is a
Yeah.
ways out, right? You're not going to make any there's
Correct.
no financial gain until that book is actually published.
There you go. So you really, you are spending, because time is money, as we know,
Right.
and it's a huge investment. It's not, like you hear like, oh, I'll write an ebook and I'll do, I mean, and I'm not criticizing people who write ebooks. I think it's all
Right.
a beautiful project, but when you're writing, like when you're publishing a book, there's so much involved.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
So it's investment in time,
Time,
and it's also potentially an investment in various coaches,
coaches,
right?
money. Yeah. You have to
Money
hire
for
readers
that you're probably not going to see your return until after the book's written.
till after the book's published. You got it.
So you
And then
got
it's
to keep your eye on that prize
on the
throughout
prize.
this whole
You got it.
journey.
And I also think, I mean, and I'm actually going to be doing a talk for the Dietitian Entrepreneur Symposium coming up in October. I think it's in October, or it's in September rather, on like how writing a book on this topic, right?
Mhm.
But essentially there's a difference between the self-publishing route and the publishing route where you're not self-publishing. So that's interesting too, because you get a lot more, well, you'll get a lot more royalties if you self-publish, like if it's you, right? I'm
Mhm.
publishing my actually through my publisher, but she's doing something interesting with me that I just learned. There's something called hybrid publishing. This is a new thing that
Okay. Cool.
I just learned this like a couple weeks ago when I did a one-on-one with her. And essentially I'm publishing it, but her name is not on the book. So her publishing company, Ritz Books, is not going to be on my book.
Okay.
My publishing company, which is established the year I'm publishing, is going to be on my book. So I think that's fascinating. Now, Amazon, of course, does take a percentage, and quite a large percentage. I'm learning what that's going to be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's an amazing powerhouse of, I mean, Amazon, like everybody, you have to be on Amazon,
Right.
right? That's how you
Totally. You
get
got
that.
to.
You
Yeah,
got
and my understanding is, and you let me know if you
that.
agree, or I'm sure there's nuances to what I'm about
Yeah.
to say. But it's my understanding that, at the end of the day, you might not make a ton of money from the physical book. It's
Right.
more the doors that open as a
Oh,
result, right?
absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, well, you know what's interesting? It kind of depends, I think, on how much money you can make from the actual book. Because
Mhm.
here's an example. Like, let's say you sell it for 29.99, and let's say the wholesale price is $4, but Amazon takes a cut. I mean, even if you made $5 a book, I mean,
Yeah,
if you sell a lot of books, you can make some money. But
right.
it's very true, because it's through the book that people learn about you and then
Yeah.
become interested in what you have to do. So I think any healthcare practitioner writing a book is incredible, because can you imagine, you have your pillars to your
Yeah.
system. You want to communicate that to people, and you have potential clients here reading your book who are just like amazed by it, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I want to work with this person.
Yeah.
Then they might end up contacting you, right? And you could demand higher rates. Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. I mean, you're an author, you wrote a book, you have that sense of authority, right?
Oh, all that's so, so critical. So
Yes.
what is it? What advice would you give for our audience today that perhaps wants to write a book, but they don't know what to do to get started?
Yes. So my advice would be to just sit down and just like brainstorm for a few minutes, just freestyle, and just kind of jot down. You put it in your phone if you want. Just what do I want to write about? Like what is my passion? What are my pillars? And if you want to go that route, and you don't even need a title. I mean, that doesn't come till later, right? It's just the topic. It's just having the passion and the desire to do this, right? And then I would absolutely get in touch with a writing coach. It could be my writing coach. She's awesome. It could be another writing coach, but the point is you're going to need some help to do it. So working on that connection. And then I think the rest just evolves from there. I think you
Okay.
just need the idea, you need the passion, you need the purpose, right? And then you need the people, right? So you have the
Absolutely.
passion, the purpose, what the passion to do it, the purpose, what are you going to write about? And then the people who you're going to hire, the writing coach, business coach, and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like you worked with a variety of coaches
I did. I worked
during
with
this
you.
time. Yep.
You know the journey like a little bit, right? I've worked with you. I've worked with, and of course, my writing coach. I have a financial coach.
Yeah.
So different coaches, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely walk your talk when it comes to getting support to help you to meet your goals, which
Oh
I
yeah,
really appreciate about you.
100%. You
Yeah,
can
I always have a
never.
coach in my back pocket as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Always.
I think I'll always have a coach. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, because it just helps you to grow and expand
100%.
way
Mentorship.
beyond what you could do on your own. which
Absolutely. It's
is
a
so
big
critical.
investment. Mhm.
What about the mistakes that you have possibly made, or maybe stated a different way? Are there things that perhaps you would have done differently? As we know, hindsight is 2020.
2020. It's interesting. Well, I would say I would have written the book earlier on, but I just
Okay.
but I can't say because at the end of the day, what like my strategy sort of evolved over time. So I needed to be ready to write the book.
Right.
You can't rush that process. So
Sure.
I feel like the only mistake, maybe just not hiring business coaches early on, because I would
Okay.
probably have been in a better financial place earlier on had
Yeah.
I realized that. But that was just sort of the path that I took. But I would say to people, getting started, just go for it. Don't hesitate. You need business advisors. Bottom line is
Yeah.
you can't do it on your own. So yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So, are there any other kind of final words of wisdom that you want to share, Eileen,
Yeah.
as we start to wrap up today?
Of course. Just believe in yourself, and I think also tell stories, because
Mhm.
something we didn't cover. I'm, going to talk about that a little bit in my talk.
Yeah.
Stories sell. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Stories sell. My publisher, Steph, actually, I believe one of her books is called Stories That Sell You or Stories That Sell.
Yeah.
And essentially they really do. I mean, that's why people are buying your book, that they want to hear the inside stories,
Yeah.
right? They're not just looking for a textbook with theory, right? So
Right.
really thinking about like your topic and why are you passionate? Look, what is your why essentially?
Yeah.
Putting that in the book is going to make for the best book,
Right.
because that's really what your passion just shines through, right? And then hopefully you will become bestseller. And just to kind of leave on that note, because that is part of the title of this, right?
Yeah.
um of course I'm not bestseller yet, but I believe I will be, because my publisher only creates best-selling authors now, because I just think that we're just gonna what with bestseller, apparently it depends on Amazon sales and numbers. So not money wise, but like, for example, when what you want to do is you want to get as many people as possible to buy your book
Uh-huh.
um on the day that it launches. And my publisher actually told me, this is interesting, it's within a 2-hour window. It's actually that specific.
Oh,
Yes, isn't that interesting? And then essentially you're going to be registering your book with there's a certain category that your book will fall under. Like, for example,
okay.
mine would be under like test preparation. And essentially, if I'm the only, well, the one and only, if I'm the only test preparation book that comes out on that given day, and I could basically become bestseller just because everyone will be buying my book, right? So
Right.
unless you're competing with someone right within the same category as you, it's actually possible to become bestseller, right? By
Oh,
really
that's so interesting.
so interesting. But what you need though, you need marketing big time. I actually ended up
Okay.
hiring through actually one of these Facebook lives, Kathy, my amazing copywriter, who's
Okay.
actually doing the launch emails
Okay.
that go out to
Great.
people when they sign up for my list, etc. Because you got to get the word out. We're going to have a Zoom
Yeah.
launch party. And that I heard my publisher was saying that the Zoom parties also get very good traction for search engine too.
Oh, how does that work? How does a Zoom party work?
Yeah, I guess just SEO. I mean, she just said that you want to have a Zoom party if you're publishing a book, So we've
Mhm.
got the Zoom party coming up. I have the
Okay.
emails going out, and basically get people to buy the book on that launch day within that 2-hour window.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Bestseller.
So it's all kind of, I mean, you'll get trickle sales later, but the idea is to really
Yes.
kind of front load,
Front load. You
get,
want to front
like,
load, and
as many sales as you can in this very
you
tight
that
window.
one time period, and
Interesting.
then you actually can put the book on sale. I think that my publisher said the lowest price you could give it is maybe $2.99,
Okay.
$2.99. So you put the book on sale and you just get the word out. Please support me in my book
Yeah.
launch, and as many people as possible buy the Kindle.
So
right?
one thing that I see people do, I see, authors do this quite a bit, is they'll say, get the book, I'll pay for the book, you just pay for shipping.
Oh,
Have
that's
you
a
ever
good
heard
idea.
that? Yeah, I see that a lot.
Super interesting.
Yeah, like, so that's kind of how they position it. Like,
The
all you have
position
to do is pay for shipping.
shipping. I
And
wonder
shipping might end up being, gosh, $5.
maybe $dollars. Well, what I can do, this actually, you just gave me a really good idea that I'm going to investigate. I know that we're going to be promoting the Kindle one because that's the
Yeah,
easiest to buy for a couple
right.
dollars. But maybe if people want to buy the soft cover, maybe I could do something like that. I mean, I would totally be interested in
Yeah.
knowing about that avenue
Yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. Like some of kind of the big name coaches like that
Yeah,
I've seen publish books. That's kind of the
that's a really
strategy that I've
cool
seen.
idea. And that's a
So,
good way to get the Kindle sales and the soft cover.
right, right.
Some people actually don't like Kindle as much. They actually prefer to have the book.
Yeah, I'm not a Kindle kind of gal
Is it
at
I like
all. Yeah,
Kindle.
yeah. I
I,
don't I don't really yeah. I mean, I listen to audiobooks. Are you going to do
I
an audio
love
version?
audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yes. And by the way, I'm also going to be publishing an audiobook too of the book.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah. So like in my world, this is just me. It's either audiobook or
Or
the
physical
actual
book.
physical book.
I
Yeah.
see.
I don't
Yeah.
like to, I try to reduce my screen time a little bit. So I'm not like
Yeah,
all,
right, right,
yeah,
right.
like
We're
looking at
on
a
the
screen.
computer all day long. I know.
Yeah.
Totally.
But to each his own, right? I know lots and lots of people
Yeah.
that prefer the Kindle. So, I think you got
Exactly.
to cover your bases there,
Yes.
obviously, to
Yes.
meet the demand
Meet
for
the
different
demand. We're actually translating the book in
formats.
Spanish too. We're translating the book into Spanish too.
Oh, very good. That makes
Title
sense. I
ad.
love it.
Yeah.
All
So
right. Well, where should we send our audience today, Eileen, to get more information?
yes, please go to my website. And you will see when you get there.
What is your
Um,
website?
And the website is www.refreshexams.com. So it's the
Okay.
word refresh, the word exams with an S
Okay.
dot com. And when you go there, you will see what I'm offering today is because the book essentially is for dietitians to be. I would love it if you pass the word on, but I want to give a little gift for basically getting on my email list. And what I'm giving is a I think it's like a 3-day meal planner.
Okay.
Essentially, it's part of my book. It's something that I offer my readers, but it's 3 days worth of really good recipes, breakfast, lunch,
Okay.
dinner, snacks. Yeah, and
To
the
boost the brain, right?
yeah,
To boost the, right.
brain boosting foods. So I'm offering that, and you will see that as an option when you sign up for my email list.
I love it. All right, guys. So just as a reminder, go to www.refreshexams, all one word,
Mhm.
exams, plural, right? With an
Yes,
S, dot
yes.
com. And grab that 3-day meal planner with
Yes.
brain boosting foods. I think I will grab that myself. Can't hurt, even though I'm long past taking that darn exam, thank God, right? But nonetheless, I could always use some new ideas on meals. So I will go and grab that myself. So anyway, gosh, this was so insightful and such a great topic. I really genuinely appreciate your willingness to chat with us today, Eileen, to share your experience and your many pearls of wisdom on this topic. And most of all, to our audience, I hope this has been inspirational for you and that you are feeling better about taking that idea that's been in your head probably years now. And you're feeling more inspired to get that out onto paper to help educate the world, right? I think that is it really can make such a huge difference in terms of elevating your brand and bringing more business in at a higher level, right? And that I think is the big key too. So, all right. So again, go to www.refreshexams.com, learn more about Ilene and her approach, and grab that 3-day meal planner. And I hope that's helpful. All right, guys. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. All right, everybody. Thanks again, Ilene. Take care. Bye for now.